Okay, my name is Clint, and this is Yin Yoga. Welcome. And today, just like always, we're going to start doing balance. So everybody can stand up. No ball class today. Yeah, well, you can use the wall for balance too. Okay, so I'm going to do just a little bit of, let's see what I'm going to do. Okay, come to Tadasana. Tadasana, you get your feet roughly hip width apart. If you need some help on knowing how wide your hips are, put two fists together. And then put your fists between the arches of your feet. So a lot of times women, have their feet like this. That's crazy. But anyway, that seats the femurs into your hip sockets. Almost the ideal way. Of course, everybody's a little bit different. But from there, stand tall. Isometrically drag your feet toward each other. That will engage all the muscles of your legs. Take your upper inner thighs and roll them towards the back. And then take your tailbone and tuck it under by tilting your pelvis back. That gives your spine, your lower lumbar spine, a nice little reverse curl, just like you're supposed to have. And then lift the crown of your head, this part that's right above your spine, straight up towards the ceiling, and tuck your chin in just a little bit. Engage your core. And then take your shoulders up towards your ears, roll them back, have your shoulder blades kiss, and just let your arms drift down. Your shoulder blades going down towards your hips. And right now you are about as plumb, not plump, as you can get. And you can stand like this at Publix for 30 people in front of you. So let's just begin. Bring the weight into your right foot. And before you, right foot, yeah. And then before you lift your left knee up, think about what muscles are going to be required. And then begin to lift. And see if you can detect those muscles. Now, a hint is the muscles that do the work are not attached to the bones that actually move. They're not, they don't originate there. So these are hip muscles. These are your hip flexors that are lifting this leg up. Find a spot on the floor of the far wall so that you can focus on that and not be distracted. Maybe bring that left knee out to the side. Try to keep your hips square to the front. And come back forward. And bring that foot down right in front of your right foot so that your right big toe is touching your left heel. Now the fun begins. So from here, all you're going to do is you're going to bring your hands up in front of you, point your fingers away. And then, looking at your right hand, as you bring that right hand out to the side, and maybe all the way around behind you. And if you fall out, that's fine. This is practice. And then return back to the front. Lower your hands and step that up. Notice what part of your right leg you can feel the most. That's where all the work and balance was being done, down below your knee. Get back to Tadasana. And Tadasana is always your base. So if you get into a habit where you inhale and then exhale into that Tadasana, you'll make it easy to get there, and just doing it over and over and over again will help your posture so that when you walk, you'll have better posture. Now bring the weight into your left foot. Inhale, lift that right knee up. Now your arms can be anywhere. Your arms' jobs are to keep you upright. And then take it out to the side, your knee out to the side. If you're brave, maybe lift that knee up even higher. Again, this is practice. Bring around in front. Lower that foot down. Bring that right heel in front of the left big toe so that they're touching. Stand up straight and try to get equal weight in each foot. Just rock to the right foot and then back to the left. So maybe you were trying to put all the weight into your left foot before. But if you get the weight equal, it should be a little easier. Bring your hands up and out in front. Gaze at your fingers of your left hand. And then still breathing in and out through your nose. Bring your left arm up to the side. And then when you're ready, bring it back. Know that today is different than what tomorrow will be. Then release. Step that out. Every day your body is different for whatever reason. Sometimes it's for no reason. Okay, so going to back to Tadasana. Bring the weight into your right leg again. Lift your right toes, spread them wide, place them down on the mat so that you're kind of gripping your mat or the floor. Lift that left knee up. And this time, from here, push that heel forward and then bring it back behind you a little bit so that your ankle and foot are moving frontwards and backwards. The muscles that are moving here are all attached to your foot or lower ankles and up at the top by your tibia and fibula. And then come to center here, with that leg up. And then lower that right heel in front of the left. Bring your arms out wide and bring them forward. This time, maybe you can close your eyes. As you, let's see, this would be the left arm, I guess. I guess it really doesn't matter. They're both easy. So you can close your eyes and bring the left arm out and to the left. All the way behind you. And then come back to center. Open your eyes and release. Weight into your left foot. Lift your toes, spread them wide, place them down. Inhale your right knee up. And then push your right heel forward. And then back. And forward. And back. What you're doing here in balance is you're creating new neural connections in your brain. And these connections keep your brain younger. And the next time, come back to center, pause, and then place that right foot down in front of the left. Is this what we just did, or did we have the left foot in front? Well, whichever way you did it before, this time do it different. I should have painted my toenails a different color. Bring your arms out. Bring your hands forward. Look at your fingers. Then close your eyes. And bring your right arm out to the side, all the way to the back. And then come all the way back to the front. When your palms touch, you can open your eyes. Bring your hands down. Shake that up. Okay, that was easy stuff.
Yeah.
We only have one more, and fortunately, we don't have too much time. So this time, I don't know what, okay, this time you choose whichever foot that you don't like and put it in front. Bring your arms out, then bring your palms together. This time, your head's going to follow your hand with your eyes closed. That other arm can move. So when you're ready, close your eyes and then try to follow that hand that's moving. And if you haven't fallen down, open your eyes. Shake that up. Now, the reason why that's much more challenging is that your frame of reference is moving, your head is moving. So, other foot, last time, and I promise you'll get on the mat, or you might get on the mat here too. So bring your arms out in front, close your eyes, and then follow that right arm out, around behind you. And then return. And then step that out. If maybe you want to make some circles with your hips. This will help your flexors that we're working with that raised leg. And also by rotating your knees, you're helping your ankle muscles. And then I'll meet you on the mat in a regular seated position. Now you can sit up on a block like I'm going to do. If you are sitting on a block, what that will do, it will help your groins to release. And all that means is that your groins will be holding no tension. So get your sit bones right on the very front edge of the block and scoot forward enough so that it feels like you're about ready to fall off. And right now I can get 1.5 knuckles underneath the back of my block. I guarantee you won't fall off. And if you do, you can sue me. So from here, lift your spine tall, crown of your head up towards the ceiling, and allow your eyes to close. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose, and exhale out through your nose. And then take another deep cleansing breath in through your nose, out through your nose. Then let your breath come to its own natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. Maybe you can feel that cool air running through your nasal cavities where it gets warm, moistened, and clean. That's where you collect all the pollen. It makes so many of our lives much more difficult. But the alternative is to breathe it into your lungs, where it's a much worse problem. Notice where you're breathing. Are you breathing deeply? Or are you breathing into your rib cage? Can you detect if you have a favorite side? So maybe the left lung gets more air or gets more air first. Get to learn what your own natural breath really is. The more you can learn about your body and the details, the better steward you'll be, so that you'll remain healthier longer. During the practice today, all you'll need is this natural breath. But there may be some occasion when you need to or want to take a deeper breath all the way down into your belly. That will calm your nervous system, reduce your heart rate, and reduce your blood pressure. It will also soften the muscles. Begin to open your eyes. And the next pose that we're going to do is going to be either deer or swan. And if you have problems with your knees, you can do a reclining swan. So in Hatha, this would be called pigeon pose. But the easiest way to get there, remove your block and set it aside, but within reach. And we'll start on the right side. So if your knees are crossed, you're in almost a perfect position. All you have to do is take your right ankle roughly parallel to the front of your mat to begin. Roll onto your right hip and bring your left knee back behind so that maybe that knee is right at the heel of your right foot. This is where your pose would be. From here, you would ultimately fold forward. This would break me in two. So I'm going to continue moving that left leg all the way back into a conventional swan. And push your hands into the mat and lift your chest high. And by doing that, you're bringing your center of gravity more over your hips. And that's where you want the most weight to go, to lower your hips down towards the mat. This pose targets your glutes on the right side, along with your hip socket. Your left toenails are polishing your mat. Now, if this is really doing a number on your hip, you can always tuck a block underneath that right butt cheek. And you'll discover that your hip will relax immediately because it knows it can't go any farther. But if you can resist that and still get that muscle to relax, that's good. Now, if you have feelings in that right knee, you can always bring your right heel closer to your body center line. And as I come forward, my knee always comes back because it sometimes rotates the knee. From here, you can begin to walk your hands forward if you wish, coming into sleeping swan. You can come down onto your elbows, but try to sink your hips down lower. And again, be mindful of that right knee. Breathe into that right glute. Breathe into that right hip. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, begin to walk your hands back towards your knees. And when you can, release that right knee back to meet the left, coming into table pose where you can do a couple of cat-cows. Your knees are directly below your hips. Your wrist creases are directly below your shoulders. And as you inhale, your belly drops, your chest comes forward. And your sit bones lift and separate. And on an exhale, round your spine, tuck your tailbone under, and chin comes through towards your chest. And then on your own breath. Now, if you'd rather curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back into down dog, go right ahead. You may be able to reach your glutes a little bit better that way. These counter poses that you'll be doing after each pose are good to return blood to those muscles that have been stretched. And then when you're ready, carefully lower your knees down onto the mat. One or two more cat-cows. And the next time you come to center pause, the next pose is going to be a face down spinal twist. So walk your hands and knees towards the left side of the mat. And then lower your right hip down so that your knees are parallel to the front, your thighs are parallel to the front of the mat, and turn towards the front of the mat. Now, I'm going to use a rolled up towel underneath my collarbones. It just adds a little bit of space so I can turn my head. You can use a block if that works. But when you're ready, just begin to walk your hands forward. You'll be coming down all the way onto your chest or onto that block or towel. And then bring your arms out into T. Maybe you can look out over towards your right hand, maybe not. You may find that your left shoulder is pretty high. That's okay. The target here is your spine. It's your obliques and your core. It's also the muscles, the stabilizing muscles of your shoulder. Pecs, your rhomboids in the back. Soften your belly here. Soften your toes. Now, if your neck bothers you because you're looking off to the right, stop and go back. Maybe look towards your left hand. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to soften every muscle in your body. So identify where the sensations are greatest and breathe into those areas. And if there are muscles that are just screaming at you, maybe take a hand and just touch that area. Let those muscles know that you have empathy. And you're giving them permission to relax. That they don't have to stand guard for you in the next few minutes. Begin to deepen your breath. Begin bringing your hands back close to your chest. Push the floor away, lifting your chest. And come back up into table. Do a few more cat cows. And notice how your right side is different from your left. And the next time you come to center, pause. From here, lift your right leg up and step the right heel on the back wall, really pushing that heel away. You feel your hamstrings stretch. And then on an exhale, bring that right foot up next to your right pinky finger. Find your blocks. And this is going to be your favorite pose of the night, dragon. You can walk that left knee back an inch or so. You can bring your palms to the mat or to a block. You have lots of options to begin. You have a lot of options later, but you can opt to bring that right knee forward of your right toes, which will bring a lot of tension into your gastrocnemius muscles. Those are the muscles of your calf. Lengthen your spine. Don't want to be rounded. This pose works on your hip flexors. Your left psoas is being stretched. And your right psoas is being flexed. Your right psoas attaches from your lower lumbar spine. The inside of that comes down across the hip crease and ties into your femur. And if you're in love with this pose right here, you can certainly stay. And then, if you'd like, you can come down into low flying dragon, bending your elbows, coming all the way down onto your elbows. Now that right foot may be an issue. You may want to walk that foot out to the right a little bit or a lot. You can always use a block or two to raise the floor. You can also just come up onto the right pinky toe side of your foot and just let that right knee fall towards the outside. You can even come up on your left elbow. Make this into a twisted dragon. The key here is to allow those muscles to soften. So if you need to back up so that that muscle doesn't have to engage, then that's what you should do. In your next inhale, bring your palms back onto the mat. Straighten your legs or your arms, lifting your chest. And walk your hands back towards your left knee, leaving that right foot out in front. Maybe you want to come up onto that right heel. Maybe you want to use your blocks to keep balance. You can make this into a hamstring stretch by pushing that right heel away. And draw that right hip back to intensify this stretch. You're not going to be here very long, but you may feel that hamstring releasing already. And then bring that right heel back. Lower your right knee next to the left. Do a couple of cat cows here. The next time you come to center pause, from here, you can bring your knees close, somewhat close together, and just kneel back and put your hips on top of your heels in hero's pose. Or you can do a saddle pose. Now, saddle is where your hips can go down below your heels. So you have to spread your feet out wider. You may need a block underneath your sit bones because this can be really intense. Or you may need a towel. But let's just target the right side first. It's a little bit easier. So you can bring that left leg out in front. So your right foot may be outside your right hip. I'll bring a block to you. And from here, this is a huge quad stretch. And it's a great ankle stretch too. But if you bring your hands behind your hips and lean back, bringing your chest up towards the sky, and then tuck your tailbone under, tilting your hip back, your pelvis back. You're getting your sacrum to tilt also. Maybe you want to come down a little bit farther onto your elbows. I'm not going to be here very long. Thank God, I'm sure. But this is a great quad stretch where you don't have to be balancing, holding onto a wall. And maybe you just want to massage the front of your leg, front of your thigh. Begin to deepen your breath. Rise back up. Come over onto your left hip. Release that right leg out to the front of the mat. Bring your hands behind your hips. Push your heels away. Maybe rotate your feet. And then sit upright. And then bring your soles of your feet together into butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana, in Hatha speak. Now here you can put your feet anywhere. They can be out far in front. They can be in close. But what you want to do is you want to be able to relax. You want to be in this for about 4 minutes. So lift your spine tall. And then when you're ready, just begin walking your hands forward. Letting your collarbones come towards the front of your mat. Letting the crown of your head go towards the far wall. Until your body asks you to pause. And maybe you have enough blocks so that you can just tuck some underneath your legs, underneath your knees. Notice where the sensations are greatest. If you have sensations in your shoulders, just bend your elbows. Let your elbows come in towards your thighs. Allow your spine to round. You're lengthening your spine here, even though it is rounding. Allow your head to fall forward. And if you're pulling on your feet, that would be a Hatha class. So resist that, maybe by turning your palms up towards the ceiling. Breathe deeply and go inside your body. And be a witness to what's going on inside your tissues. This may be an old familiar pose, an old friend, or it may be a new pose to you. Observe what your body is doing. Why are your muscles doing what they're doing? Maybe you can feel individual muscles begin to soften. You may detect gravity having more of an effect, drawing you down to earth. Do another scan of where the sensations are. Where are those sensations migrating? You may now be feeling them in your trapezius. Those are the muscles that go from your lower spine up to your shoulder blades. It may be your muscles that parallel your spine. You might feel this most in your groins. Wherever, breathe into where those sensations are greatest. Begin to deepen the breath. On your next inhale, begin to rise back up. Use both hands to help your knees raise up. And bring your footprints onto the mat. Now your footprints can be wide or narrow. But notice your hips and your thighs before you begin to windshield wiper your knees. And notice which muscles are affected first and greatest. And then you can quicken the pace if you want. And the next time you come to center, pause. Push your feet out towards the front of the mat. Come down onto your elbows. All the way down onto your mat. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And then let the hands float down towards the wall beyond your head. And stretch your palms away from your heels. Then your fingers far away from your toes. Spread those toes and fingers. And then return your hands next to your body. Find a block. The block has 3 different dimensions. And we're going to do a supported bridge. And for this bridge, the block will be inserted underneath your sacrum the highest way you feel comfortable. So the first time we bridge, it will be just for holding a breath. But from here, bend your knees and walk your feet up towards your sit bones. On an inhale, tuck your tailbone under, bringing the small of your back into the mat. And then inhale, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale back down. This time, grab your block. You only need one. But from here, tuck your tailbone under, lift up, and then place the block with the longest dimension you have remaining, left to right across your sacrum, and then lower down. If you feel stable here, and you'd like to walk your feet up towards the front of the mat, your footprints don't have to be on the mat. Heels will do. And if you'd like to adjust the height of your block, go right ahead. This is your practice, your body. If you'd like to intensify this pose, you can always bring your arms up in the air and towards the far wall. But maybe you want to just linger for a moment with your hands on your hip creases. Feel the tension right across the front of your pelvis where your hip flexors go. Both your psoas and your iliacus feel like iron ropes because they're stretched out to the limits. Find a resting place for your arms on the mat. Even if you have to bring your hands back down next to your hips. If any part of your body is doing work here, your muscles are going to want to help support that one body part, so they'll try not to relax. And your job in Yin Yoga is to find that edge so that your muscles do soften, they do relax, so that the tension from your body position gets transferred into your fascia, stimulating those stem cells that you produce every day to go to that area, go to that fascia, so it can grow and create more space inside your body. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, return your arms back down by your sides. Walk your feet back up next to your sit bones. And then on inhale, lift your hips up, remove the block, set it aside, back down. Draw one knee into your chest and give yourself a squeeze. And then add the other knee and rock from left to right. All the way from your hip and shoulder on one side to your hip and shoulder on the other, massaging your spine. And the next pose is going to start in a seated position. So you have a couple of ways to get there. One is to cross your ankles and roll, rock forwards and backwards, or you can roll all the way over onto one side. Use a hand to rise up to a seated position. For here, this time we're going to do swan on the left side. So to get into swan again, you'll be on the left side. So you'll want to bend your left knee, roll over onto your right hip. Bend that left knee and bring that foot back onto the mat. Your toenails down. You can bring a block if you wish, or a towel. And this side may be radically different. This side may be intolerable for you. Well, if that's the case, just sit on that leg, on the heel. This is a big inward rotation on your femur, meaning that it rotates towards the center of your body. Kind of funny because your heel goes farther out. But from here, you can bring your hands back behind your hips. And then tuck your tailbone. Maybe you can feel that actual movement. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, this is sad. Shame on me. Oh well. But life is hard for a yoga instructor. Okay, Well, we're in saddle right now, so we'll get to swan in a minute. Can't wait. Okay, that's what I like to hear. A happy yogi. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, back up. Roll back onto that right hip. Remove any block. Bring both feet out to the front of the mat. Straighten your legs, push your heels away. And you can rock your feet from side to side or windshield wiper. Whatever does your body best. The next time you come to center, pause. Now, for everybody who is waiting patiently for swan, we're going to swan. So to get there from here, bring your left ankle roughly parallel to the front of the mat to start. Come on to your left hip. Bring that right knee back behind the right heel, or all the way back into a conventional swan. And remember, you don't have to keep that ankle parallel to the front of the mat. Your knee is going to determine whether or not that is reasonable. The last thing you want is to twist your knee. The swan is not a knee stretch. There is no pose that is a knee stretch. So from here, starting high again, drop your hips. Maybe you can get your pelvis all the way down onto the floor. And then you walk your hands forward. You can use a block below your sternum or below your collarbones, if that works well for you. You might come down in stages. Sometimes, if you can just release all the muscles, including from your elbows, by using a block, you'll find that your body will relax almost instantly. Because again, it knows that you are not going to be able to go any farther. Your body is smart. And it will rest when it feels safe to do so. If some of your muscles are still firing, You can reach back with your left hand onto your left glute. And your left glutes go all the way from just about your hip socket all the way over to your sacrum. You can feel the maximus, which is closer to your sacrum, and then the medius, which is farther towards the outside. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back to your hips, lifting your chest. And when you can release that left leg back to meet the right, go ahead. You can do a couple of cat-cows here, or you can curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back into down dog. And then when you're ready, carefully lower your knees down onto the mat. Do 2 quick cat-cows. And then lift your left foot up and back, stepping on the back wall. Really push that heel away, stretching that hamstring. If you lift it a little bit higher, you can feel some of your quads. I'm sorry, some of your glutes. And then on an exhale, bring that left foot outside your left pinky finger. Coming back into dragon. Now you can start here in high flying dragon. If you'd rather come up a little bit higher, bring your hands to your knee. You may, or you can use blocks. Experiment. See what's best for you. This pose mainly targets your hip flexors, but also your adductors, those muscles that draw your legs together. Lengthen your spine here by taking the crown of your head towards the far wall. You can stay here if you wish, or if you'd like to come into low flying dragon or winged dragon by dropping that left knee out to the side and coming down onto your elbows. You can certainly do that. You'll find that this works more on your adductors. Your elbows can be on the mat or on blocks. Or you can be up on your hands. And again, the target, you're hoping to get your pelvis a little bit closer to the mat. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your palms back onto the mat. Raise your chest up. Walk your hands back towards your right knee. Do that hamstring stretch by keeping your left leg out in front, maybe coming up onto your left heel. Draw your left hip back. That will stretch your hamstring. Hamstrings, you have 4 hamstrings. Plus, this stretches your gastrocnemius muscles here in your calf and your Achilles tendon. All muscles that are super tight. And then when you're ready, just bend that knee, bring your left knee down to meet the right. A couple of cat cows here. And notice your spine. Try to target wherever sensations are greatest here. And the next time you come to center, pause. This time, walk your hands and knees over to the right side of your mat. We're going to be coming into a face down spinal twist on the left side. So from here, just carefully lower your left hip down so that your thighs are roughly parallel to the front of the mat. And then turn towards the front of the mat. Have a block or a roll-up towel handy. And then walk your hands forward. Bring your arms out into T. Maybe this side is different enough so that you can gaze out towards your left hand. Maybe not. But do what's right for your body. Your body will reward you for it. Soften your belly. Soften your glutes. Let your feet just fall wherever gravity wants them to go. Soften that right arm and the right shoulder. And use your breath to breathe into your rib cage so that your ribs will expand. Your ribs will separate just a little bit, giving your lungs more space to breathe. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back close to your chest. Listen carefully. From here, maybe just straighten out your legs the length of the mat and find your way onto your back. Coming into Shavasana, doesn't matter what direction your head is pointed. From here, push your heels towards the end of the mat. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling and then down towards the far wall and stretch from your heels to your palms, your fingers to your toes. And then return your arms somewhere down by your sides or out from your sides. Walk your feet a good distance apart. That will please you. Push your heels away. And then just let go of your feet. Let them fall wherever gravity takes them. Stretch your spine long. Lift your head 1 inch. Tuck your chin. And carefully lower back down. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. And exhale it out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath into your nose. Exhale out through your nose. And take rest. I'll be coming around and adjusting some of you. I will not be able to get to everyone. But if you do not want me to touch you, just wave me away when you hear my footprints. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your space. Bring movement to your fingers and to your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently roll your head from left to right. And when you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. And draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a squeeze. Rock left to right. Make little circles on the ceiling with your knees so that you massage your spine one last time. And then the next time you're over on your right side, pause there for just a moment. In fetal pose, using your right arm as a pillow. And do a body scan for any residual tension or stress that may still be lurking in your tissues, so that you can address it in another practice later this week. And then using the strength, your left hand, push the floor away, rise up into a seated position. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me this evening. Thank you for taking the time and effort to maintain your body's health and your mind's health through the practice of yoga. Take the compassion and the peace and empathy that you practice here on your mat everywhere you go, and share it with each person you might meet. Namaste.
Namaste.
My name is Clint, and this has been Yin Yoga. Thank you for coming.